Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Natalia Caston if you don't know me, and if you do, welcome back. So today I decided to do a video about how to deal with not getting the grades you expected or getting quote-unquote good grades. And this kind of stemmed from the fact that I personally was very disappointed in my grades, and I did a little poll on Instagram and it seems like at least half of you as well were also interested in your grades. Disappointed in your grades after specifically these last exams. So I just wanted to kind of have a little talk and kind of see what it is that you can do to kind of tackle that. I think I'm gonna speak about myself first just so that you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from, but I wanted to be able to get a first this semester. I worked really hard to try to get a first. We had several coursework, and usually I'm very, very good at coursework. And then we had exams, and I wasn't as happy with my exam results as I would have expected. I wanted to get a first, which is 70 and above, and I ended up getting 68.85, and that's really frustrating because it's like 1.15 away from a first, but yeah, it was something that I kind of had to go through, and I just want to explain the process that I went through and how potentially you can kind of go through a process that ends with you not feeling as hopeless or as disappointed. So the first thing that I wanted to kind of say was that I kind of accepted that I did put quite a bit of effort into my grades and that I should feel proud of them regardless of the outcome, just like proud of the fact that I went through that I did a whole first semester with COVID happening, and how just in general I actually pushed myself, and even if I wasn't completely motivated all the time, I was able to get stuff done. So I think that in itself is like a pretty big achievement. And Jesus Christ, my voice. That in itself is a pretty big achievement, and it allows us to kind of, you know, be able to grow as well. And I was able to accept that even if I didn't get the grades that I wanted, I was still able to, I could still recognize the effort that I put into it, and therefore it was important that I saw that. What the hell's in my eye? It was important that I recognized the effort that I put in order to get the grades, even if it weren't the exact grades that I wanted. So the first stage, I would say, is just to kind of accept that the grade that you had and kind of move on from it. So as tough as that was, because I had both this grade that I wasn't expecting to get, and at the same time I was also rejected from other placements that I really wanted. Both these things pretty much pissed me off a little bit. Not really pissed me off, I was just upset about them, I guess. And so first thing I said is that, you know what, I have to just accept that this is my grade because it's probably not going to change, and then move on from it. The next stage is to really ask yourself, well, is there anything that you can do to change it? Is it... Jack is going crazy with the toy right now. Jackie! Is to just kind of see, is there anything in particular that you can do to change your grade? Can you appeal it? I know that I have a friend of mine who was able to ask for mitigating circumstances. So is there anything like that could be relevant to you in terms of changing your grade? Because if there is, definitely apply. They will change your grade from 5 to 10%. I also know that it's potentially at the end of the year we could have a safety net approach, which means that we get the same grade as last year, which I'd be more than happy about. But in case that's not the case, I'm going to move on to the next step, which is how can you improve in order to get the grades that you want without the help of any other circumstances helping you. So, and when you ask yourself how, exactly how. So I know for a fact that since I got 68.85 this semester, next semester I don't only need to get a first, but I need to get higher than a first. So, well, I mean within a first, right? But I need exactly around 72% in order to average out on a first for the entire year. So I made that calculation knowing that this is what I would be expected to get if I wanted to achieve the result that I want to achieve. Now it's possible that at the end of the year I still don't get the results that I want, but I do know exactly how it is to get to the result that I want, and that's what's important. So being able to exactly quantify what it is that you need, what steps you need to take in order to get the grades that you want, is pretty important in finding out whether it's achievable, whether it's doable, or whether it's just not doable, or you're just not able to do these steps, I guess. Like, oh my god, I literally sound ridiculous, but what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to get at is like what exact steps you need to take in order to get the achieved result, and is it realistic? Is it something that you can actually achieve? Like, I think there's like SMART goals, like is it a SMART goal, for instance? And the next thing is to kind of reflect on what you did badly. Like, what were your weaknesses? What were you not doing as well? I know for me, at least, that I should have prepared my exams better. Even though I had all the content, I was very late just getting the slides done. I think weeks, sometimes days even before my exam. So I didn't know the content as well as I could have, and that's probably why I didn't get as high grades as I could have as well. So just making sure that you engage with your lectures and stuff throughout the year, instead of just kind of being like me, letting something sit until you have to do it last minute. I feel like you could get a better grade for stuff like that. So I think for me it was a mixture of coursework, which I was doing usually really good. I think there's only one coursework I was really disappointed about, but I didn't have clear instructions because some of the feedback that I got weren't even in the instructions in the first place. So I mean, for that I'm just gonna let it go, but for stuff where I felt like I did do well, I didn't have a good grade, that pissed me off a little bit more. But I kind of figured out that the annoying thing is exams, you don't get any feedback apart from the grade that you got. So I think other than that, it's just being more prepared for exams, knowing the content better, doing more outside reading in order to get better grades, because I think especially in psychology that's what matters as a second year student. And so just kind of figuring out again where you lost marks, what your weaknesses are pretty important in determining whether you end up with a good grade or not next semester. And then finally, what were your strengths? What were you doing well? Is there any way you can play those up? For me, my strengths are essay writing, and even though we don't have that this semester, we have a couple courseworks that I usually tend to not be so bad at. So just being extra prepared for those courseworks, really trying my best to get the highest marks that I can get, will probably help me out at the end of the year. So I think that's again another important one in order to get the grades that you do want to achieve for your next semester or your next year, whatever your goal is, sorry, and whenever that goal has to manifest. And then I put, like, again, be ready next time, because same thing here for me is that even though I was like ready for my exams, I wasn't as ready as I could have been. There's always something you can do more. So just making sure that you're extra prepared, and that because the thing is that they can't really bring up anything that's not part of your lectures. They can't, because, you know, obviously even if you've done outside reading, they can't quantify exactly what type of outside reading you've done. So just making sure that you know the ins and outs of your lectures is pretty important. I only have one exam that counts for 100%, and then one exam that counts for like 20% for this semester, and honestly that is good for me because I don't tend to do as well during my exams as I do for coursework. I think last year it was like an anomaly, but that's also because you had multiple choice, so it's a lot different. Here you have to actually write essays, and it can be a little bit more complicated to just be able to do that in the short term. So I think that mostly when you have like a time limit as well. So I think I'm probably going to play up my strengths and do as the best that I can for my coursework for this year. And then, I mean, I'm not going to be less prepared for my exams, but I'm obviously going to hope that my coursework helps me in case my exam grades don't end up being as good, just because I know that I tend to not do as well for my exams. So I think that, again, just being prepared, being ready, on top of like actually analyzing what you did correctly, what you did wrong, and just seeing like exactly what you need in order to improve, I think would be the main steps as to how to deal with getting bad grades. But overall, I know that you've got this. I know that you are gonna get a good grade next time. So, and if you don't get a good grade, like, it's not gonna kill you. It isn't. So just making sure that, you know, you do try your best no matter what. No one's going to penalize that for you. I tend to be a little bit of an overachiever, which is why complaining about getting a 68.85% seems completely ridiculous to some people. But I think that personally, I didn't do so well for my IB. Well, I didn't do terrible, but I didn't do great. I didn't do what I wanted to achieve either. So I really wanted to make sure that I did get what I wanted to achieve for university. So I think that's why I've been working really hard to try to get that, and it is a little bit disappointing that it wasn't enough, but I know how the system works now. Being online is definitely challenging, but it will be different for each person, and I think that I've started to learn that what the ins and outs of being on, like, having online work is like, and so because of that, I just think I can improve from now. I'm really hoping that I don't jinx it for myself, but yeah. I wish you guys I wish you guys luck with like everything moving forward, and I will be coming out with essay tips and most importantly coursework tips, because that's where my strengths are really are. So I'll be coming out with that in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. And Jack also says bye. This is him being his absolute cutie. Jack loves you.